station may cause an unfortunate situation.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kings and queens, welcome to the Return to Black Broadway podcast show. We are here in the building one time with your boy Peoplez, the Dapper D McClapper, and the real Check Mills in the building. Yes, indeed. For all the good people. I know it's been a while, like we said at the last show, we spacing out things a little bit because, with this whole movement and with everything that's been going on in town, everybody in their respective places, we got to have time to do family and be outside, y'all. So that's why we have shifted the program to only 2 exclusive interviews per month. Now, this month, we have Jay Mills with us, and then we're going to swing back around with that world premiere Muscle Crank. But whole point being, right now in the month of May, we also celebrating the birthday. Jay Mills got a birthday coming up.
Sure.
Yes, indeed. And she outside.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Good people. So want everybody to do something for us like we always do about this time. Everybody who's tapping in, you're putting the kids to bed, grabbing your food, whatever you're doing, keeping your group going. Just give a holler in the comments. You know what I mean? Give us a shout out wherever you hollering that from. You're in DC, you're in Texas, you're in Florida, whatever. There's people from all over that's tapping in with us. So just shout out where you at so we know that y'all rocking with us here on the show. You dig? All right. So also, real quick, got it. Okay, we got my main man AJ Throwback in the building one time. In the building. You know what I'm saying? Showing love. Yes, indeed. So yeah, my brother AJ Throwback, as we also shared on the last show, he is on sabbatical for a bit because he has been, doing his kingly duty, supporting his queen as she has been graduating from nursing school. You know what I mean? So they had to shift gears and do some things in the house. And so, we want to show respect because, here at R2BB, we all about families, especially the ones that look like us. So yeah. Shout out to my brother, you know what I'm saying? He's always still supporting in the background. Also, gotta give a shout out to my queen. I see, her Vila, she just tapped in with us, and also special thanks to her because she was helping, stepping in the back office in the absence of brother AJ, who is usually doing a phenomenal job with supporting the tech while we are in motion as our host. But we appreciate her for stepping in and helping out with the team, side note for all the kings who might be in the building or might be popping in. It don't matter how great you think you are. Without that queen, but I'm trying to tell you, there's things that's going to happen different in your world when you got you a righteous womb. Find one. Anyway, carry on. So, speaking of righteous wombs, again, we are grateful to have Shake Mills in the building. Yes, also, again, all my people tapping in. Also, yep, May Baby stand up. Yep, actually, that is true. Both you and my queen have a birthday in this same month. Matter of fact, it might even be the same day or the day before after. Yeah, so this is a beautiful
thing.
Huh?
Gemini season.
Yes, it is. Gemini season, indeed. So, yeah. Yes, indeed. Shout out to the queens in the Gemini season. What's good? May babies. Shout out to May babies, all the May babies. Yes, indeed. So, while we waiting for all our good people to start tapping in, folks usually probably about 15, 20 minutes into the beginning. You know how people slide in when oh, yeah, that's right. They doing the show tonight. Notification. Yeah. So, Jay, my good friend, who I've known for a long, long time, I am honored to have you as a guest here on the show. And I just want, we're gonna start jumping into some of the preliminaries. I don't want to give too much away too soon before the people start sliding in. But what I do want to highlight is just give us your some snapshots of your reflection of Black Broadway. What was your first experience with Black Broadway, aka U Street?
Oh man, when you say Black Broadway, I always think of rest in peace, C Brown, man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my introduction, I guess, was bar none with the one light bulb, bar none.
Yeah, the first round, bar none.
Yes, and Bohemian Caverns. Shout outs to Dehasia and poetry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So, I mean, say a little bit more about that experience. Okay, also, we want to give a shout out. Got to give a shout out to the Queen, good friend, good sister in the building, Miss Lori Love. We had her on the show as our first guest of the episodes of R2BB. She was also the first MC that was on the first Cypher Jam that we did. Which also Jay Mills is on, probably like in the middle of the song. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. Shout out to Lori Love. Lori in the building. One time, yes indeed. Uh-huh. So say a little bit more to us about exactly with you expressing your first experiences with Barnum, with Bohemian, with all of that. What did that mean to you as a young person? Like when you first encountered that, what were you already hip to the scene that was going on before you came there, or did you kind of
No,
stumble on it? What was it for you?
it was stumble. Freshman year at Howard, uh, doing my poetry in high school, but coming to college and seeing how there was this whole serious poet scene, and there was this bridge between with these poets that were lyricists, and um man, shout out to the Sunni tribe, Messiah and Kadir, and they're finding out about where they were performing is what led me to U Street.
Okay.
2003, that was big bling bling era.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Everything was flashy and dashy real quick.
Yeah, and that real hip hop, it just seemed like, it just didn't exist. So for me, coming to U Street, the first time I shared my poetry at Bar None, having a band, shout out to the Sound Poets, having them
Yo,
just
Sam Poets was dope, bro. Like what?
oh man, having them just hop in and vibe to the cadence of my words. That was the birth of my art. My art was just born in cipher. It was born in community. And
Mm, mm,
U Street just showed that even if all you were doing was just sharing with this crowd, it was like church. It was it was I'm trying to find words for how important, and looking back at that time, just how pure it was.
yeah. Yeah, it was wow. That was a super pure time. Like, and I know for me, like, I think my camera is doing something weird. Oh, there we go. All right, so nah, but I know that was wild. But I know for me, shout out real quick. I gotta float Lori Love back in here on this comment. She said, "Queen, you looking like gold on the screen." Much love.
I was just about to type my response. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Um, so yeah, no. Speaking of poets who bridges MCs, interestingly, both of which we are, and also Lori Love is another one of those hybrids who is a poet and an MC all in one person. So
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's love all around the building. But like honestly, I would really say that for me, it was a very interesting time because by the time that whole wave of U Street happened, before then I had experienced a whole other side of that with the whole freestyle union thing and with all the big homies, Priest and Nomad and all of them, you know what I'm saying? Like who was already like out there in the scene hard. They the part of the reason why, we even had something to stumble upon. You know what I mean? And so, shout out to all the OGs, put on for the city, for the town, for the region. But I would say, as a soul brother such as myself, I was looking for that hybrid situation. What we experienced at Bar None, the Bohemian, all of that stuff, because it's different when you have other elements and textures to your music that kind of go outside the spectrum of what some may consider specifically the original format of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like word to the roots, word to the fact that we're a live music town. A lot of what we do really surrounds live music because of who we naturally are culturally in this region.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like for it to actually have a lane that is represented fully, similar to how Philly was doing with Black Lily and all of that kind of stuff, but like in our own way. But it was also so unique and special to experience like what you're talking about because we had that here, but then it's like we didn't have that here. Not in a context where it was respected from a hip hop standpoint, because there was always the constant battle between hip hop and it even being cool to rap or any of that. Where of course we love and have much respect for the culture of go-go and what we did done with that, but people forget that soul and R&B and funk and jazz and gospel and classical is also what we do, and theater, and I can keep going. Like it's not just go-go or rap. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's way more dimensions to who we are here in this melting pot of a region called DC, aka DMV area. But when you find what I've noticed, even within this, when we started this movement, it's so many different types of artists. Like we're not just one thing. So one of the things I really respected about meeting you, interestingly enough, I met you on U Street. You know what I mean? Like there's people we found we knew in common from different respective places that we came up in, but the actual place where I met you as an artist and as a friend was on U Street.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I think I was in my second or third year of college because I'm a couple of years older than you. Was 18 then. Yeah.
I was 18. Wait,
Yeah.
at bar 9.
Yeah. And so the thing about it is that meeting other fellow hybrid type of artists. Yes, indeed. That's awesome. The Queen said the culture and artistic diversity in DC is so slept on. Very true. Powerful statement. Powerful statement. Very true. Also, we had Lori Love said big facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yep. We gonna wake them up though. That's what it is. So listen, good people, for everybody on Lori Love's statement and words of what Jay Mills has been speaking about in terms of what she experienced and what we all experienced when we decided to jump off the porch and see what we can see. There is so much that has been siphoned off of by the people who ain't sleeping on how dope we are, but so little credit has been given to the people who don't even know it's us that they pulling from. So the
Mm-hmm.
whole point of the R2BB movement is, in a whole nother way, is we're remembering in this season of renaissance, of rebirth. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? That it's about creating a new template for us to operate from, and and establishing a real infrastructure. DC is a transient place, but the ones who live here, who dwell here, who are indigenous to our region, we have to stake our own claim as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's very powerful. So talk to us a little bit more about where that part of your journey led you as an artist. Like where did we go from there?
Yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking about, the evolution of DC rap, where initially it was known to be lyrical. I mean, like, shout out to the Section 8 mob, shout out to Black Indian, but respect to Nonchalant. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
the
indeed.
idea of having music with a message and a music that was a movement that
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah, it's so many different lanes that we have had or have that haven't evolved out of different things here. But definitely, I think what stuck with me as well is when we started seeing a surging of artists who, like Nonchalant and others, who
yeah,
wanted to not only be dope at rhymes or even dope at putting on a show, but dope at having something of substance to say that would really open people up into a different perspective about who we are and where we are and where we possibly need to be.
yeah, 'cause it got to this point where, with first Bar None, and then shout outs to Biscuit and I and what we were doing at Bohemian Caverns, and then Truth and Ace and Powerful and Up and Up.
Yeah, the up and up that was kind of like the last, I would say, strong outside of stuff that you and others like XO were doing, like in different venues. But outside of that part of the movement, they were like the last like staple of.
I mean, shout outs to Dre all day and the Paint. Because what I was just saying is that it it definitely separated the hip hop scenes.
Yeah, yeah, indeed, indeed.
People started to know that the places that I love to frequent, like if you came up on that mic rapping about some stuff that's basically all that we hear on the radio, if you come with disrespect to women or rapping about all this drug dealing stuff, you come with that trap rap, the audience gonna look at you like you stupid.
Yeah,
And there were just so many people coming out every single week to hear this music that just felt good to the soul. Uh,
yeah, indeed, indeed, indeed. And it's like, I think the other thing that's interesting at the same token about who we are and as a people here is that it's like, just as much as we love positivity and empowerment, musically and texturally, we like to get a little ratchet sometimes too with the vibe. But it's like, what are you doing with that? It
mhm.
makes a difference. Word to one of our, I ain't gonna give it away, but we got some goodies tonight we gonna play. You
Yeah.
know, as a very strong example of how you can take the frequency of trap and turn it into something that empowers. Because the vibe of that's tribal. So that's the cadence is dope. But what are you saying though?
Mhm.
So yeah, absolutely. So from there, where did your art take you in terms of how you became the J Mills that we know now and as an artist, and then a little bit later we're gonna get into some of your entrepreneurship, because that's important with Black excellence and Kingdom excellence too. So yeah, but yeah, now just talk to us some more about the many moods of Mills, or the various what I'm saying, like the eras, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I'm really excited to be making the music that I'm making now. It's so full circle. Um, you know, that the beautiful mind is the soundtrack of my life. And as you alluded to, I do have these different styles that I was creating with as they reflect the different phases of my life. So, uh, what can I say? I'm a Gemini that was born and raised in Southeast, and then we moved to Fort Washington, and then I went to Howard, and then, you know, sold weed to my friends. Now, my career is in the cannabis industry. Um, but being honest enough to create these songs that reflect that I am the sum of who I've been. I can rap about being a drug dealer's girl or about spiritual salvation and knowledge of self. Um, I think about how with my artistry, it went through this arc of me starting off making poetry for myself and then sharing it with a few people. And it always started in my heart, in my life, in the paper. There was no beat. There was just a story. And then later on, I find music that enhances and accompanies the story I have to tell. But in the quest to be an artist and trying to be successful, I stepped outside of myself and started for a minute trying to create the music that I thought that people wanted to hear. So now I'm listening to beats and letting the beat influence the music, you know. Um to me, I guess that's the difference between my poetry and my rap, where a rap is the beat made me do it.
Yeah,
Heard the
the beat.
beat.
It's the beat's fault. I couldn't help it.
I couldn't help it. I heard the beat. It just you
Right.
know.
So on a side note to that, just a totally random question to that point. Do you, as an artist who has lived through the era of boom bap and trap, have you ever tried to rap like 90s style rap over a trap beat and it sounded weird to you? Or like, have you ever tried to put trap cadence over a boom bap and it sounded weird? I don't know. That's a totally random question. That's even for the audience too. If y'all have any thoughts about that, I have different theories about rhythmically what that is or isn't, depending on your perspective. But I'm just curious. What is your thought about that?
I mean, I definitely have done a trap kind of cadence to an older beat. Um I don't know. The 90s had a lot of different type of lyrical patterns. You know, I can't say that these cadences that are heavy on rap that we didn't hear in the 90s. Shout outs to Busta, shout outs to Twista. Um,
Bone.
you know, um, but I will say like the Migos really innovated the way people rap now. Like they've had the cadences and the chokehold for a decade.
Yeah, they did. Shout out to the Migos if y'all ever see this, man. We saw your work, brother. We appreciate what y'all did with that. They did. I agree. The Migos set a bar for how to approach even ad libs, where you got some of that backers up, bang bang, like the
Mm-hmm.
hype man is on the song, giving a rhythmic cadence that makes the whole think of them. Hey, in between a
Yeah.
phrase, it's a whole nother thing. And somebody says some of that broccoli, you know what I mean? Like, and it
But this
became a
is the
whole thing.
passenger.
You got little kids walking around, thump, 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 hey, skirt, making noises and
Big
everything.
ones. Brat brat.
Yeah, all of that, all of them type of phrases, and it's like there's a very tribal, powerful thing about what was done with that.
Mm-hmm.
For any young person that's watching this, or ever kid, if you're sitting with your mama or your cousin, or if they let you stay up tonight, like it's not new. It's just coming through you in a different way. All we saying is put something in it that gives you a reason to live instead of a reason to die.
Amen. Shout out to the homie T Black. I saw he's in the comments.
Oh yeah, T Black hopped in. Wait a minute, let me check in real quick with T Black. I think I missed my brother.
Speaking of
Black.
dope musical accompaniments to the work.
Oh yeah. Ooh, speaking of, look, that's perfect timing real quick. See, Black, you gonna make me go ahead and do it. I was gonna hold it for a second.
Drop it. Do
Look,
it.
since you in here, listen, y'all, real quick. We're gonna take a pause on the talking because my homie T Black just walked in, you know what I'm saying? He and I are co-producing a project together that's a part of another leg of this whole R2BB movement called the Elixir Project. Is coming at y'all. Y'all get ready. And one of the songs that the good Queen J Mills is actually on, because it came from an original concept of an idea she wrote where I was featured, and then T Black was like, yo, that's dope. Hold on for a second. So, without further ado, good people, we're going to go ahead and drop this exclusive real quick. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all going to catch it on the project, but you can't get it, you know what I mean, unless you're going to get with it. So when it's time for the drop, y'all go ahead and support that, all right? So, as we go on the flow, moment in time, Go Flick, T Black Remix Production.
It's up.
It's going up. You hit.
Exclusive content.
Welcome to the Dope Show. It's T Black for this one. T Black on the track.
If I only had this moment in time.
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 Only had this moment in time.
Jurisdiction may cause an unfortunate
If I
situation.
only had this moment in time.
If all I had is this moment, she in my hand, and my tomorrow was destroyed by a highest joy. Some rain, some dance, I'm standing in the golden land of after. Hands in my last chapter. I thought with laughter for my fam, before and after. Man, they have to understand. I'll meet the master there in the promised land, just like you can if you take the high hand. Man, I was 2 years old and a ballet dance about the arena, dreaming of a solo stand. I daydream of a candy land with bubblegum speakers and chocolate mic stands. Gumdrop fans clapping their hands and do my dance. Just need one chance. Promise I can keep the pen in my hand, writing out my destiny as fast as I can. If I only had this moment in time.
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 Only had this moment in time.
I only had this moment in time.
If I only had this moment in time.
Each moment like my last given. My past was different, gas driven on a higher path I'm living. Calculated like math division happens, but that's how multiples are given. I want you to listen to my vision, picture how I'm living now. I'm looking for what's left for me, living life so recklessly. A million situations that just should have meant the death for me. So now I guess it's left for me to do. Shine. Life as a star means that I cannot find my name in the sky while I am alive. So astronomically impossibilities are mine, but I'm kind like divine. Greater is he that is all that am I. I am a part of the all, so impossible to lie. Impossible to fly, impossible to try, impossible to die. Keep your head in the sky. It's moment in time.
I've only had this moment in time.
And I tell you that you can fly.
If I only had this moment in time.
If I only had this moment in time.
You only had this moment in time.
You can fly. 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 You can fly.
Everybody unchained the eagles from Port Heads to Beagles. Shut down the range of the world. There's a leader. Unchained the eagles from Port Heads to Beagles. Shut down the range of the world. There's a leader.
Oh, stop. Say what? Come on. Hey. We're going to take it up top. Come on. down. A drop down. Give me a little. Come on. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That was an exclusive for y'all. Moment in time. Go Flip remix, man. When that thing drop, y'all go ahead and cop that. Don't play games with it. You know what I'm saying? Unification of the nation. You got that go funk swing and R&B swagger going, which is a perfect template for such a hybrid artist as yourself, J Mills.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Love what you did with that. I love T Block. I appreciate how you laid that thing in there on the co-production and on us vibing. A lot of beautiful things we got in store for the future. Me and the homie T Block, we locked in, y'all. Stay tuned. There's some good things popping out there. You know what I'm saying? I also want to give a shout out to all the OGs, you know, who already checking for this you know, beautiful exclusive single that's gonna be coming out. So yeah, man, moment in time. Word to U Street, word to R2BB. You know, all the flavors that you want to say, but you did.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, okay, this is what I want to do because, of course, everybody else here on the show doesn't know. As my friend and as an artist, we've known each other for a long time, so I know about all your eras. But I want the people to get a peer into what's happening. Also, shout out to the queen who gave us the fire emojis. That thing right there, hot. That's what she said. All right, appreciate it. Yes, indeed. So, interestingly enough, with the Go Flip remix, and Black, you can also comment on this as well, because I would love to hear your thoughts about that. Appreciate that, Lauren. So, yeah, our musical chemistry is everything, man. Look, it's all about the authentic art and love that's between everybody that's connecting in the circle and the cipher. You dig? Yes, indeed. But interestingly enough, this version of Moment in Time reminds me for some reason of like it's like the Good Years era for some reason.
Very much so. I actually have a track that is kind of similar from the poetry mixtape that this reminds me of. But this is before the Rollatons.
Yep,
Before
yep,
bounce beat.
yeah, for the bounce beats and all of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But okay,
Heavy in
so
the pocket.
right.
Lock it.
So talk to us real quick about, I guess, on that same trajectory, how did go as an art form influence you as an artist?
I mean, word to just this whole idea of doing music for your community, for your people on a regular basis and doing it for life. Yo, shout outs to Big G. You know?
Shout
Like,
out to Big G. G, if you get a chance to see this, man, love you, brother. Big
yeah,
homie.
man. Shout outs to Rock Mikey and UCB. Shout outs to Black Krista with FD. Um
Mm-hmm.
uh
Got
and
some
then
good.
like things like that. Like it's just DC has always been a place that did not care what other people had to say. We stamp ourselves. We came up in an era where people were designing their own clothes and we paid good money for our all days, for our madness, for our hobo, for our shooters,
Right,
for
DDTP, our threads,
yeah,
and our chocolate city, and our rugged wear.
like things may not have left the city, but the city supported you so much that you didn't feel like you needed to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that witnessing these different bands, shout outs to CCB, as well, Raw Image, just again thinking about bands that like, okay, you know, you go to high school with these people, like you know them. It's like this kind of local celebrity kind of feeling a little bit when you're supporting them and seeing them doing their thing. Um, I think the go-go influence again was just very inspiring to do whatever it is that you do for your people and keep doing it. You don't need anybody else to stamp you. You don't need another region to stamp you. Does your own city stamp you? Because word to Wale, like, DC is just so oof, hard to impress. And they're heavy on the, but who knows you? Like, other people think you know, but have you been in our streets? Have you performed at these clubs? Because I ain't seen you yet.
Right.
How you from the city and you ain't even been in the
Yeah.
city?
Right. Look. The Essence or back or Groovers or Junk. Did they stamp you? Did you get a clearance through any of the big
Have you ever
homies?
played with any of these? But shout outs to him though, because he did bring Trey along with them, and
Mm-hmm.
try to put elements of DC on. But I think that looking at just how he was received and how people are is a real stamp on the importance of having a community following first, like building this foundation. T Black says, "Go go," especially the version that we grew up on was so authentic and true. Created a culture and ecosystem of its own in the area. It did.
Indeed.
Because all the bands were wearing those clothes. We have our music, we have our art. Shout outs to Beating Your Feet and the way that we dance. Like, we real live have this rich culture that
Yeah, I love what T Black said while also being so closely related to hip hop and R&B.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and gospel.
There and gospel. Y'all didn't understand. If y'all didn't know, just on a side note, I know we talk a lot about hip hop and soul and jazz and R&B, but if y'all ain't know, we got some of the most fire gospel singers and musicians here from across the nation. Y'all didn't understand. Like,
People know, yeah. They
yeah, like,
got it. They come here for the musicians, for the
yeah.
background singers.
Yep. I can't tell you how I myself have been hired to go play for a gospel artist. Like, just literally me and most of my homies who are musicians who, have the ability to float in different lanes,
Mhm.
artistically. Uh,
Word
y'all,
to the jazz background that I said it was is heavy. Once again, heavy on the jazz vibes, the
that too. Yeah.
jam, unplanned. Can you vibe with these people? Gospel is very much like that. Like, if you play a gospel, you got to be ready for a spontaneous solo. You got to be ready for them to, okay, we're gonna repeat this again. you
Yeah.
know,
Hold on. We're not done. Everybody fire that up again. Okay, boom, go.
right? You
Yeah.
gotta transition that into like an interlude and revamp the style of the music you were playing for the altar call. Like, it requires you to be able to be very fluid and in the moment and in the spirit.
Yeah,
And
it's a very prophetic thing. You know what I mean? It's
that's
very
definitely
prophetic.
go-go. It's
Yeah.
in the moment. No matter how many times you may have practiced and rehearsed, when you are on that stage and in front of that audience.
Whole different energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff
And,
that you end up doing that you didn't even know you was gonna do until it happened.
and as a rapper, I think that's also why we just have you on the cipher tip, hop on all these different beats and just modulate the flow and keep it moving.
Yes, indeed. Spontaneity and skill. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So it's like, you know, so okay, real quick, talk to us about the good years era specifically. Like, that's what I kind of want to do. I'm gonna throw different eras out there, and I just want you to talk to the people about what that means. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, chapter one, the good years, man. I was just talking with my friends. This is a recurring conversation in the past few days about how we lived the era that the world can't get off. Like, word to like the 70s. That was major. People still rocking afros, still doing certain elements that happened there. But the 90s
mm-hmm.
were we actually lived that. We lived through the birth of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
We remember when it wasn't. We remember before 95.5 was even a radio station. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we remember, so we were there for so much. When, like, you had to get your information about these artists from magazines. You had to read.
Right, and
Like,
you had to wait
so
for the magazine issue to come out to read
oh
it.
man, you couldn't wait for the next Source magazine to come out so that you could see what was going on in music, when these next Drakes was going to drop, and how many mics did they give this album. And it was such a crazy time, and the music was just so pure, even if it was rapping about selling drugs or rapping about what, it was your life. It was just real life. Like, and all of the trials and tribulations that came along with these lifestyles, they also made songs about that as well. So for me, my music, the good years, is number one, it is about like the musicality of the instrumental, being of a kind of old school kind of vibe. But second, it's like feel good music. Oftentimes it's something that might make you want to dance, or it just feels good. It's fun. Shout
Yeah,
outs to back when people really was dancing to music and whatnot. But
yeah.
the good years, immediately after the good years, is Nina Ross. Cause that's pretty much how hip hop went. It was De La Soul, it was a Tribe Called Quest, and you had these underground artists, you had the Two Live Crew, you had NWA, you had this music that was so raw, it was never gonna get played on the radio. It was just, and now to think about how everything is flipped. All you hear on the radio is the music that in the good years would have never been played during
Right,
daytime
right,
hours. There's no BET uncut time, because it's just uncut all the time. You don't gotta wait no more.
right.
It's
It's just wide open.
it's just wide open.
Yeah, real quick, I want to touch on something that T Black said just a second ago as we were discussing the power of, how go-go has influenced, all our other textures. He says, the only thing that scares me about our hometown culture is if we're not careful, the world will write us out of our music and culture. And that's a real statement. Again, another reason why we started the RGB movement, because we shall not be unwritten. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I've really recognized the power of the DMV culture, specifically DC. Let me not even say DMV. I mean, I'm only saying that because of gentrification, and so many of the native Washingtonians now live in Maryland and Virginia and have brought that culture out with them. So, okay, DMV, but knowing that, like you said, it's bigger than just rap. Like, we actually act. We have Duke Ellington. Like, these same people who's playing for these go-go bands are also playing for churches. And
And
they
also playing
also
for jazz bands, and
and
then also trying to run a band for R&B bands.
or they also might real life shoot you. Like, and go, like, yeah, he plays the guitar and he traps hard. Like,
Right, like right after this show, he about to hit the block after the night.
right.
Nah,
Like,
I can relate to that, like, in a real way.
just thinking about how every time the spotlight comes to a particular city, the entire culture is emulated. When the spotlight was on New York, everybody want to dress like New York. Everybody want to talk like New York. It come down south, wherever it was, everybody wants to do whatever they're doing. Atlanta is it? Okay. LA is it? All right. Houston is it? Chicago is it? The Bay is it? Jersey, Detroit, all these different places. You have no choice but to actually get to know the culture of these places, what they eat in these places, and how they live in these places. So if you come to DC and you find out that our niggas ain't sampling, we not, off the MP, we actually have bands. We have
The
we have
band is
bands.
the sample.
We out here making real music. Niggas is painting. It's a whole ass band, and then there's a random person just painting a whole work of art on stage. Like,
While the band is rocking.
right. We have a hip hop theater festival here. Like, we are so cultured casually. we're so casually cultured. If our way of life became cool, and all of a sudden now all the youth want to play an instrument, and that's what they doing now. They forming their own bands. Like this is the 60s. Like we bringing that Motown energy back with such a hip hop that's so authentic with that hip hop vibe. I know that it's just a matter of time. And in terms of us being written out, it's it's because we are that powerful. So that yeah, when the spotlight comes and ain't no more black people living in DC or whatever, but we are doing a great job of making sure. Like shout outs to Don't Mute DC. I'm so thankful for that movement and how it turned into them
Shout
really
out, shout out to Ron Moulton, you know what I'm saying, and his leadership in such a thing too as well.
yeah. And making sure that these bands stay paid and that they're able to continue to perform and that our city government is making sure that go-go has a permanent place to live and thrive and survive. Word to the Mochella Fest, man. Shout out to
Yeah,
yada yada. So I think that when I see with the youth though, like are they still forming bands? Are 14-year-olds still getting together doing that? Or are they trying to rap over some other person's instrumentals and trying to emulate some other city and how they do their hip hop scene? I do see a lot of that, but shout outs to the
yeah,
youngins that's still
yeah,
out here forming bands and getting together on their own
yeah.
and keeping the culture alive.
Absolutely. Shout out all to also speaking of another hybrid, to the brother Say Two. We had him on the show a while back, because he rides that lane too. Shout out to his band Relentless. Say Two is the lead talker of Relentless band. They just put out an album about a couple months ago.
Mm.
But he's also a rapper who puts out music. But the interesting thing about it is a lot of his rap songs that he puts out as just himself as the artist, they have elements of go-go flavor and live music all over it. Like,
Mm.
so it's his own thing, just like the different types of ways each of us have explored those elements in our version of hip hop, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
soul and music, period. Word to what Brother AJ just said, all of what y'all are saying is a great extension of overall music and artistic expression, with the African diaspora and black folks in the DMV happen to be one of the areas keeping that energy alive. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
It's very much like reggae. It's very much like salsa. It's very African
Yeah.
and
Mhm. Yeah, yes, indeed.
tribal.
It's very tribal. Yes, indeed. T Black said, our era was the first and last of everything. No
Mm.
other era can say that right now. We can work the cyber world, but remember vinyl. We can remember going to the store, but now about everything is instant gratification. That's a real power. There's anticipation and ooh, it's about to come out, and you had to wait to go to a place to even obtain it. You know what I mean? You couldn't just press a button and order it online and it just pop in your playlist. You know what I
Just
mean?
download music. You had to go to a store. I think about that a lot with like my son and children, how so much is accessible to them just immediately. For me, when I was younger, trying to listen to hardcore by Lil Kim, I couldn't just download that. I had to get somebody willing to give it to me. Get one of
Right.
my cousins to get this tape because we couldn't even buy it. The parental guidance is on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Now there's just
They wouldn't
nothing
even let you
stopping
just
these children. They could just YouTube it and hear their song, whatever
right.
song they want, just like that.
Yeah, that's a real reality. But that's powerful. About how that plays out. But what the interesting thing I've noticed though, back to what you spoke about on the live music tip and just even the elements of our culture here and how we do things, is that because we're in a renaissance, there's pop-ups in different parts of the culture where the whole town is like, oh, hold on, wait a minute, we outside, y'all, come on. And everybody outside. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the homies and all the queens that been doing, projects and documentaries. Like I'm doing a documentary. Priest and No Bad doing a documentary. Stinky Dink doing a documentary. Two-Face the Don got a documentary. Like, I mean, everybody popping out with documentaries. We got new clothing lines. We got new businesses. Speaking of, we're going to touch on the entrepreneurship. You kind of sprinkled it a little bit earlier when you talked about the fashion side. We're going to get into that in a minute. Before we do that, though, this is the time in our show where everybody can have a little fun with us, though. So what I mean is, this is when we do our guess who or the guess what. So today, I want everyone, and of course, Mills, you can participate too. You know, if you want, once I play it, you can guess first, and then I'm gonna get everybody else to jump in. Put in the comments what y'all think y'all hear. What instruments are there? What musical styles are blended? Two questions. What instruments do you hear? And what styles, meaning genre styles, have been blended to create this sound you're about to listen to? All right, here we go. One time. All right, here we go. So I gave y'all a couple rounds. Make sure y'all can hear and catch it. So, Mills, take it further. Give us one crack at what instrument. Don't give all the instruments away because I know you got ears. Now you're going to be the student in class like, I hear strings, I hear.
I'm going to go with the most random one I heard.
Okay.
Cowbell.
Very much so. There is a cowbell in there. Very good. Very good, very good. All right, so name one of the genre styles you think you hear in the musical element.
There was a very Middle Eastern, almost Indian kind of drum and feel to it. Made me want to belly dance a little bit.
Belly dance. Yes. All right, in the comments, let's see what everybody else talking about. What y'all hearing, what y'all seeing. Real quick before we jump in on that, I want to swing back to something that AJ said. I think it's important to the convo. I think the youth in the DMV still have a connection to go-go music, but not in the way we did. When you can make a beat in the box, then a lot of them probably think, what's the point of a band? That's something to reflect on. Okay, so the queen, we got strings. Yes, there's definitely some strings going on. There's a string ensemble in the building. Indeed. Okay, let's see what else we got. 808. Yes, it's big eights. Y'all can't tell because we on this live stream, but if you was listening to your car, the eights are retarded. Yes, indeed. 808s are definitely in the building. Let's see. AJ, which we got. Definitely hear pianos. Yes. The piano element is one of the instruments that was creating, in addition to some of the drums you said you heard, Mills, the piano, the melodic. You know what I mean? Those different types of, for all y'all folk that know anything about musical, if you don't, might learn a lesson today. That's what you call harmonic minor scale.
Yes. The harmonic minor scale, aka the Arabian scale. In my mind,
Exactly.
that's what I called it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see. We got AJ said he was going to say cowbell as well. So y'all
More
were going to say
cowbell.
more cowbell, please. Yeah. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, and the queen said bossa. Yes. Very good ears.
Yes.
Boss is very much so. Word to what we were just talking about in the combo of how multifaceted our elements are. Like, so since no one guessed this particular genre, I'll speak on it. I'll give it away now. So one of the elements, oh wait a minute, AJ threw something in there. Oh, a little cowboy ain't never hurt nobody. Sure enough didn't. It sure enough didn't. Cowbell do you well. You hear me? So did we lose Mills?
Oh, no, I'm still here. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. All right. So one of the things, speaking of Renaissance and rebirth, one of the things that I've been really digging into as a composer and a producer in this season is stamping what I like to call our version of trap and drill music.
Okay.
So, for example, when you hear that, what is that? That ain't nothing but a bounce beat. And then against it, what I put was the trap. So you hear that. So now, now if you got a drill rapper, you know, they do it faster because the drill kind of has this thing I noticed with drill music is like it's faster, similar to how like Twister and Bone were rapping, but against it is like a slower beat that's pushing that kind of gangster drive that makes it feel trappy.
Yeah.
In
What
other
I like
words,
about trap and drill is their use of negative space and silence. You thought I was feeling you? The niggas the munch. Niggas that eat it, he ate it for lunch. Like the pause.
The pauses. Yes, indeed.
They both have intentional pauses that I feel like back in the 90s, we was trying to fill up every syllable,
every space, yeah. It was like dope to fill up much space you can with as many dope phrases and words, and now I get it. I think that's one thing I will say, word to the youngins, that they kind of took elements from what you said that came from like Bone and Twister and all of them in that era, and they kind of just found a way to slow it down, the phrases in between, just enough for them to have a room to hit you with a bang, bang. In between that, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like you waiting for the
hop of the 16 passenger.
Yeah.
Big ones.
Absolutely.
Eat
yes. Right. No, you good. Yes, indeed. Wow. But
chill out. Okay. Go ahead.
Right. Brother AJ said, whole time I also can kind of hear a slow down version of something somebody like Patrick Troy or Bone Crusher would have rapped to over in their prime. Absolutely.
Yes.
There are elements of, you know, the Southern vibe version of what was going on in hip hop during that era. You know what I'm saying? Like right when the South was really like, yeah, matter of fact, not only do we have something to say, we're taking over. Thank you. You know, word to that, you know, to the below the Basin Dixon line region, we got a whole lot of sauce and flavor down here when we're talking about. But that's the whole point, really, you know, is Renaissance is about honoring that which we come from, but then celebrating that which we are evolving to, but with a spirit of excellence in how we execute it, though.
Mm-hmm.
We're back again to Black Broadway. You know what I mean? The spirit of excellence and how we execute it makes a difference. And so, all right, so real quick, talk to us about how do we get from the good years to where we are now? Like, because I know right after that, we got Nina Ross.
Yeah.
So okay, let's dig into Nina Ross. All right, so this right here, this segment we about to go into makes the whole point about the beauty of the melting pot that is DC and who we are. Like you said, somebody could be playing a jazz band and they might be going home to track that night, depending on their home situation or whatever going on. So
Never know.
Right. So talk to us about Nina Ross real quick. What's the deal with that old era?
I fell in love with thugs, hugs, and hard drugs. Never a taker. I was married to the baker. That was the era. That was the era. Falling in love with that lifestyle, man. I really speak to that. I think about these young women now and how word to the 90s. Like, y'all, these new drug dealers is doing the drugs and getting fronted QPs. Like, we dated these who really were touching millions. Like, niggas, things were different then. I think about the lifestyle that was just so glamorous, but then also it was dangerous because many a woman got caught with a case. Many a woman got her car, house, life taken away from her because of who she was dealing with. Whether it was figuratively, now she's in jail, or these things have been seized by the police because of the activities that were done in these items, or if she really got caught up in the crossfire. People love getting people's baby mothers, and like, it's crazy. But living that lifestyle, being that person's girl, it'll spoil you. It'll spoil you. It's unrealistic. Like, the average man don't have stacks to just give you. And it was a lifestyle that was a dream, an unsustainable dream.
An unsustainable dream. Yeah. Say it again for the people. An unsustainable dream.
Unsustainable dream. Like,
so talk to us about what makes it unsustainable. Break that down a little bit for the people.
The unsustainable nature of the dream was just like this culture of, like, for instance, how much it costs to get a table at the club and doing that all the time. Like, all of the shit. Word to Frank Lucas, man. You're bringing a lot of attention to yourself. You're spending all of this money in these places. It's going to get some questions asked eventually. It's not sustainable to be doing that. Like, the ones who lasted are the ones who had a job. And it'd be funny as shit. You call your plug and he like, I'm at work. What do you mean? You work?
Right.
But them the ones that lasted, because that other lifestyle is just, it's not sustainable. It's not. But the soundtrack of that life, of dating these men and, taking these trips and
all the unmentionable things you can't really even say on camera.
Right.
That come along with that lifestyle, yeah.
The very real story of me being robbed at gunpoint in my own home based on who I was living with and what they thought they was gonna find, because that person was living with me. I came into that life because of the type of men that I was attracted to, and to get out of it, I had to change the type of men that I was attracted to. Like, fuck this, I'm about to date a square. God did not send me a coke dealer. This is what I have to know. That's not who he sent for me. Right?
Yeah, I got it. Right. I feel you. Like, unless it's a situation where
not for me.
Yeah. Unless it's a situation where King came that way, but you were the beacon of light that warmed his heart enough to want to take a different direction. Okay, maybe.
I literally wrote that in a song. It's not gonna happen. I had to accept that. No, he is who he is, and I'm not gonna be the one that he'll change if you want to change. But most times, by this point in time, like, this is who they are. Because what are you asking them to do? What kind of job are you about to get that's gonna afford you the lifestyle? that you've now become accustomed to.
That's
Like,
real.
what else is paying you 6 figures every month? What you about to do? Where you about to work?
Yeah. That's I mean, you know, in order to change your lifestyle, I mean, they can become entrepreneurs. Like a lot, interestingly enough, a lot of the fashion, you know, that we had here that was running things in the 90s, a lot of them cats was funded by drug money. That's part of the reason.
100%.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why you don't see a lot of them no more, because when they started doing them jump outs, a lot of heads was rolling around that time, you know.
And I was the most dangerous thing that we can do is organize. As long as it's unorganized crime, they not fucking with us. But the moment we try to organize ourselves, organize your crime, you want to get a nice clean business, want to get a daycare, a little barbershop, a little clothing place, want to get a little nightclub and wash your money like the other races do. Yeah, now they coming because you organize and ain't gonna don't. It's powerful when we organize. That is the most dangerous thing we could ever do as people of color. Every time we come together, it is like, oh shit, no, this is anti-American. They will put their plants into the organization to try and sow dissension amongst your ranks and make you break up like the Black Panther Party, or they'll just, pay a motherfucker to shoot you like Nipsey or Malcolm X. Like, the worst thing that you can do to the establishment that exists is organize yourself and become financially independent. Like, they coming for that ass. And it's crazy because, I mean, we all know hot niggas. We all have seen people do hot stuff. Some of the people, like the worst people, is like, how is you not locked up? How is you? Meanwhile, somebody out here that's actually trying to do the right thing, trying to clean up their money, trying to clean up their life, that past is about to come back and catch their ass up. Like, oh no, what you thought you was good?
Right. And now, especially in these days, the era of RICO charges, you know,
Yeah.
rappers is getting RICO charges left and right.
As long as you about the destruction of your community, they not about to stop you. You can have a crack house open. You just know what's going on in that house. You know what's going on at that block, and ain't nobody stopping that. But you try and do something positive.
That actually speaks to volumes to the power of who we really are, as you just spoke to, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, to take it back, Nina Ross was about that life, heavily. After Nina Ross is Love Story. My writing my way out of those relationships and sharing those songs, I think, is what really showed me the power of my music and my art. I think my love songs, it gets the people going because everybody can relate to one of these different stories. But yeah, after Love Story and True to Fact, getting this attention because people like these poetries, they like lovey-dovey mills, they love sensual, soft mills. But that led again to Say La Vie, like the whole rapper lifestyle of, yes, being in the clubs. It was like Nina Ross, but cleaner, And it was on me, not because of who I was dating that this lifestyle was afforded, but no, I'm getting this lifestyle on my own. I'm him. Him Athena. Him Athena.
Him Athena. Yo, that's hilarious.
Out here. But then also, I mean, you were there for that era too, like parties on the rooftops and like,
wow, that whole era was crazy, man.
Blowing money fast. Throwing all these shows, funding the operation. But after Say La Vie came knowledge, because it's like, what, I have the ear of the people, but what am I doing with it? What am I showing them? What am I doing with this pedestal that I've been placed on? What are they seeing? Let me say more. Let me do more. Let me be more. Let me show more. Let's evolve and bring out the soundtrack for that evolution. So shout outs to knowledge. That's where I'm stuck at now. This is the knowledge era. But again, I am the sum of who I've been. And many people, I think, wouldn't listen to the knowledge if they hadn't known the Nina Ross. Like I'm able to relate to folks and show like in a very real, transparent way. Like this is how I got to be where I am. And it's not because I don't know about these things. It's not because I wasn't tested or tempted by these different situations, been there and moved out, moved on.
Yeah, that's the power of testimony in many ways. You can speak to how to evolve, how to overcome, how to grow, how to get into your God body space, into your
Mm-hmm.
enlightened space with the Most High, and
Mm-hmm.
be able to step into a different realm of the of who the real you is in total is. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, powerful thing, an abundant thing.
Abundant.
Yes, indeed. Um, so I guess talk to me about how you started stamping your sound around when the knowledge era came, as far as now you going from just rocking with bands at open mics to DJs spinning your records while you doing your thing, to then there's a band and a DJ involved, and then there's singers, and then there's like, where'd all of that come from? How does that fit into the eras or the progression?
The Beautiful Mind Project. Shout outs to that. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to Devin. Um, just kind of standing on this one woman show of my art and the brand that is me. You know, I realized in performing with other people, like my vibe was just so strong. My energy was so strong. I'm like, man, I need my own night because people are like, it's like you change the channel when the next act comes on and the next thing comes on. Like people need a whole full dose of me. And creating this whole show in the box story of my life.
Show the box.
Beautiful Mind Project. Um, oh yeah, I just saw AJ's comment. They love COINTELPRO and us whenever we organize. Yes, you hip. They will. They
Yep,
will
and he said a lot of
sabotage our
times as an
event.
artist, you either have to give the people the candy before the medicine or hide the medicine within the candy.
A
Yes, indeed.
spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and I throw in a motherfucker every now and then so the ignorant niggas will hear me type. You know? Yes, all of that.
Yeah, yes,
Um,
indeed.
but that's the vibe, man. Like shout out to RBI. Like he mixed the poetry mixtape for me. He is integral to my art and how I present it. Like
Mm-hmm.
forever. Shout outs to Biscuit. He
Biscuit.
is my favorite drummer. I love the way he listens to everything and accompanies the vibe. Like some musicians are excellent, they're talented, but it's like they overplay or they underplay or
Mm-hmm.
they're nervous to play. It's like they're not in the moment as it needs to be.
Right.
And man, them overplaying musicians, they annoying.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
lot of
nah,
them.
that joint blows. Like
It's a
that
lot
is
of them.
super a blower. Like even as a musician and speaking myself, I can't stand when a musician overplays. It
Ugh.
drives me nuts. Like, it's like if you don't get somewhere and sit down and lock into a pocket.
Or underplays. Like, come on. Can I get it? Like, it's just you real
Just basic, yeah. Like,
basic with it, you know. Um, Shout outs to Vaughn, like the band and the DJ, the the vocalists is all authentically people and that I don't have to explain things to. It's real easy. We just vibe and and make it happen. So yeah, now I think back to what we did at the One Love joint by Howard across from Howard Theater.
Oh yeah, One Love Massive. Yeah, that was a dope show too. That
Yeah,
whole if y'all ain't never seen it, go check out that One Love Massive show. You heard what she said. One Love Massive show featuring the real J Mills and the guy bodies in a situation, ready to go.
yeah, that was the blueprint, and from there, that's all I want to do. You're gonna know that you're getting multiple sides of Mills. You're gonna get at least two sides. I'll give you Love and War if it's a short set, but if we coming for the full 45-minute, 1 hour, get it in joint, we're gonna give you all the different phases. We're gonna start off with the good years, get it spicy with Nina Ross, get it sexy with the love story, turn up with Say La Vie. Oh, I forgot a chapter, The Gift. The Gift is what happens immediately after Love Story, because that's the lyricism for the fuck of it. That's just
Just raw hip hop like lyricist with it.
just
Yeah.
that's real backpack. Like if you just want bars, you want to hear Mill spit, you like when I just spit and just yep. That's what that's about. Then it's Say La Vie.
Okay.
And then it's knowledge. But
Now,
yeah.
talk to us real quick now. Now we're gonna shift gears real quick and get on this entrepreneurialism, part of it. We touched on it earlier with fashion, and then you kind of spoke on a couple of elements about some of what you do in your brand, business wise and entrepreneurially speaking.
Pass the J.
Yeah, talk to us. So talk to us about the whole canna culture. I know you're really big into medicinal healing around that piece. So give people an understanding about what it is, because some people know what it is. Some people are uneducated about what it is. Some people still looking at it like, oh, they over there telling people about drugs. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's different philosophies, mindsets. Break it down in a sense for people where canna culture, medicine, and all of that has a place in your brand and in the world.
Yes. And shout out to you, Damien. Peace and love.
Oh yes, indeed, my man Choppy slid in the building. I gotta
Chop,
say what's
chop.
love to my Chamba brother, yo. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Me and that brother got many records together. Ooh, but speaking of y'all, Chop, make sure we get together real soon, bruh. I gotta swing you in on the show, man. Chop, by the way, just got a new project out too. So yeah, like I said, the whole town is lit. We all doing it.
Hey, it's
Yes,
lit.
it did. Yes, indeed.
So it's been Have You Had Your J today past the J since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even dreamed that we would be legal. It was past the J. Have you had your J today? My job, being the first Black woman to manage a cultivation center on the East Coast, moving into the corporate side of the cannabis scene as soon as it was legalized in the nation's capital, I immediately just knew. I was just like, yo, shout outs to Howard. Shout outs to Howard School of B. Shout outs to marketing. I just felt like, man, what a time to be alive. We as African Americans have built this country time and time again, built different industries time and time again, and had those whole industries taken away from us. And a whole other race gets billions and billions of dollars, and none is given to us when we're the ones who built it. Like the tobacco companies aren't paying any sort of reparations, even though, come on, like how do y'all not? You wouldn't even have been the tobacco companies you are were it not for literal slavery. We didn't look at the cotton people like, yo, where's our money? We are owed because you literally built your business on slave labor. You see schools like Georgetown now talking about giving the bread to the descendants of slaves that they have the records of, because, they did. But let's bring it on forward to alcohol and how we were locked completely out of that industry. They gave it to a few families, and outside of that, you a bootlegger, and it's illegal, right?
Right, and they finna come shut your whole operation down if you caught. Mm-hmm.
So then we start running numbers. They take that away. We have nothing with the lotto, and we literally invented that shit. you know? So now here we come with weed, and y'all gonna legalize weed. Y'all not gonna hit us with the okie doke like you did with the numbers game. I gotta make sure that I'm on the front line. Ain't no way I'm talking about loving weed and I'm not getting paid legally now that it's legal to get paid by the what? So yeah, word to first having these positions in the upper level, executive level of these businesses, but then I saw how they were dependent on our minds and our creativity. They just want the money. They just want the power and the fame and the coolness and the clout, but their heart isn't in it. I know that this plant is medicine. And as I was blessed to have these opportunities to learn about the science of cannabis and how it works with your body, how it works with your endocannabinoid system, to learn about terpenes and how these different oils that give cannabis its different smell also is responsible for giving it an experience. And your nose can lead you to the medicine that you need if you know how to understand what you're smelling and how it's going to make you feel. Like that's my jam. I love it. It makes so much sense to me because I think that anybody who smokes understands that aspect, that it smells different, it tastes different, and it can make you feel different. But being able to know that in advance and kind of, instead of just, I'm just trying to smoke some weed, it's like, yo, I need a mood uplifter. I need a tranquility enhancer. I need a creativity boost. I need something that's going to help me focus. I need something that's going to wake me up. I need something that's going to put me to sleep, and allowing yourself to truly self-medicate and protect your mental health. Like, yo, I'm tripping right now. I need to smoke a J so I can calm down, and having that space and time to be able to do that. I love it. So I'm clearly passionate about smoking weed and selling it. And I'm also passionate about music. It has long gone together. Who doesn't smoke weed and listen to good music? Like, it just, I'm heavy on capitalizing on the lifestyle that I live and firsthand and showing other people how to do it, introducing them with brands and different ways for them to legally get revenue from what they love to do.
Okay, now talk to us also about some of the other, you spoke about oils, different forms of how medicinally cannabis comes into play. Also, word to Chop, he said, how black folks lazy when we built the infrastructure of America. Let's medicate and build.
Mm-hmm.
Through that. And then good brother AJ said, our people often get criticized for being dependent on the system, but the system historically has done everything in its power to limit our financial freedom and then wonder why we often defect. Very powerful.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And that's why I'm always here for when we win in areas from which we often have been excluded. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. We ain't even trying to give them a chance to exclude us, even though they trying. DC is such an amazing place. Like, they're going to look back and write movies about this era and how these I-71, first of all, about I-71 and then all the businesses that rose, but how we're crafting legislation that's allowing people to be grandfathered in, instead of how in California they just shut all those businesses down. If you didn't have a license, you was just short. So we are in some unprecedented, never seen before times with amazing opportunities for inclusion in $1 trillion industry. It's global.
So tell us, what's the difference between if you smoke it versus if it's an edible versus if it's, pen or oil, like, medicinally, and then how does it affect, like when you talked about mental health, because I want people to understand the science of how you specifically have administered mental health to people through knowing the strands, knowing the terps, all of those things. Like, what is the template for that? Because a lot of people don't know.
Mental and physical health. Well, One of the things I do first is just kind of, it would be helpful if you had a journal. If you're someone who smokes weed, if you really wrote down your different experiences from these different strains, because cannabis is very personal, very much like alcohol, where I could not tell you how you're going to react to dark liquor versus white liquor.
Okay.
And how you react to alcohol, if it's the first thing in the morning or if it's at the end of the night and you've had a whole bunch of food to eat, if you're angry, if whatever your emotional state is, period, that you're in when you begin to take this alcohol can have a different effect. Um, so understanding that personal relationship when it comes to cannabis, that just because I smoke this weed and it made me focus, that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen when you smoke it. You
Right.
smoke it, and instead of being focused, it might give you anxiety, or it might be like, I don't feel nothing at all.
So is that due to maybe a person needing to be administered a different strand
Yeah.
from? Okay. So
That's
then,
why I started by saying, like, just to kind of start off with the baseline and think about how different strains make you feel. If you encounter like an orange tasting weed, how does that make you feel? Because the name is whatever. It's what is it though? Have you smoked something that was kind of piney? Have you smoked something that was lemony? Did it really smell like gasoline, or was it like musky? Was it funky? Was it, I mean, there's so many different smells that weed can have, but once you start to really reflect and be like, I like the weed that smells like this. I really, and your body will tell you sometimes if you've forgotten because you were stoner, but you'll know when you smell it again. It's like, oh yeah, this is that. This is what I need. But for me, like, I'm a complex person. I smoke for many different reasons. So I'll smell a weed, but like you said, like, how do you know which one it is? My body likes it, but does it like it at night or does it like it in the morning? I know for me personally, what I like, the piney smell ones are my morning ones, and then the musky, gassy, not so much gassy, heavy on the musk and dank. Gas doesn't slow me down. It just makes me feel high, and I like the way it tastes. But um in terms of the method of consumption, when you are applying fire, that is not a good thing for your lungs to ingest, just generally. Um, you can't smoke or inhale it. You can use the inhalation method without actually burning the plant. Um, you can steam it with a chalice, or you can use a lower temperature setting and use a vape pen. Um,
so what does that do in comparison to just straight up firing it up after you roll it up and light it, smoke it? Here you go.
so when you are smoking weed, like say you roll up 1 gram of weed, you actually are only getting about 15 to 30% of that gram. Why? Because as soon as you put fire to it, it disappeared. You didn't even smoke that. That just burned up. Weed, THC burns off at like 340 something degrees. So the weed you're actually smoking is not what the cherry is. You're getting high off the weed behind the cherry.
Interesting.
All that ash, all that burn, that's weed that you didn't even get. The fire is smoking more weed than you are. This is important because, like,
Wow.
some people may look at a gram and think like, okay, well, they're thinking about how high they get off 1J, thinking like this one edible is going to compete with that. Well, no, because the J only got you 15 to 30% as high as you could have. You're about to eat that, you're going to get 100% of this medicine in your body. That's the equivalent off bucks of about 3 or 4 J's.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
the
Right.
fact that when you eat the weed and you metabolize it, it goes through another chemical change, changing it from delta 9 to delta 11, which is 4 to 5 times more potent than regular Delta 9. So edibles can be so much more potent than they'll get you so much higher than you could ever smoke yourself to be. Like you'll stop smoking and like the J will go out in your hand. But if you ate these edibles,
Oh, it's
it
in
happened
there.
before you even had a chance. You don't even get a chance to put it out. Your body just got to deal with that shit.
We'll go for the ride, huh?
Yes. So, why do you consume in one way versus another? So, when you were smoking, the effects of cannabis are felt practically immediately. You got 2 minutes at the most before you can, like, have you ever smoked weed and felt the fucks leave your body?
Yeah, I would say definitely. That was more obvious to me in my younger years. Like I can say, like talking about the different eras of your life. The I don't really give a era. Definitely, I attribute that to times where I had smoked. Like, yeah, I ain't even for real. It don't even matter, bro. Like it just is something that it just. What a Cat Williams put it best. It just gives you that sense of effort in your system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Immediately, you like, man, fuck that shit, yo. It's just going.
Right. Now,
Um,
listen to all the people out there who might be consuming. Consume responsibly. You can't have efforts if you're supposed to be at work making some money, or you're supposed to be tending to your babies, or you
I mean,
supposed.
sometimes you need a little fucking to be at work and attend to your babies. You
Okay,
come back
so
high,
that's
you
a
ready
whole
to
different. That like you said,
play
it also
games.
depends on how different people respond and handle their situation if they doing that. Because some people might do that and they ain't about to do nothing productive or get nothing done, or they kids gonna be like, "Mommy, I'm hungry," and you sitting there high and you stuck.
Yeah, that has happened. Yes, that has happened to people. You were right. Let Don't get too much. Not too much. Fuck it. Not too much. Over medication is a thing. I took my tolerance break and came back after Ramadan. I noted how over medicated I had been.
Mm.
Um,
Say more about that real quick.
in terms of like the over medication.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like so I started smoking when I was 14 and I never really took a break. I took a break when I was pregnant, but I feel like the hormones and stuff that I had, I wasn't clear in my head like how this break was. I had not known my sober self in
Mm.
so long that there were elements of the clarity of my mind, of my attention span, that I thought, ADD just ruined it or age. And no, I do still have an amazing memory. I um the clarity and the speed of my thoughts was just incredible. My intuition, my presence. I realized I was like missing. I, w- and I also wasn't as healed as I thought that I was. I really was just high. I wasn't actually
Mm.
dealing with a lot of situations that I needed to deal with. I just would smoke a J and just, skip over these things. But
Like next.
like fuck that shit, it's whatever. But really having to sit with myself, um, it showed me one, like, in times, when do I want to smoke? Why am I medicating? When do I really, really want a J? Or why do I want a J?
What's going on in your mind and your backstory that even got you feeling like that? Yeah.
And when I started smoking again after 30 days off, I didn't need as much weed as I needed before. One, two, I could feel the clarity slipping. I could feel my intuition quiet. Like Like it just deaded my brain a little too much. Certain strains, certain times, and certain amounts. So I became very cognizant of when it stopped being medicine and when it started being intoxicating. There's a fine line
Fine line, very fine
between
line.
medication and intoxication because honestly, anything can be a drug. Shopping can be a drug. Eating can be a drug. TV can be a drug. Exercise can be a drug. Sex can be a drug. People can, with addictive personalities, are going to fixate. It can happen.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
just being mindful of that balance, whatever it is that you're doing, it's all about balance.
yeah, that's powerful. Real quick, I want to swing back just for a second because when we were kind of touching on dealing with the entrepreneurialism and the ability to capitalize on business around the kind of culture. Brother Choppy Chop said inclusion is key. We are the main consumers. Main race locked up for petty marijuana charges. We deserve our place in the industry.
Hmm.
I love sativas to make music and indicas to medicate.
I need a sativa. I need that on a t-shirt. I need a sativa.
Mhm.
Cause oh my goodness. So the other reason why I'm really, really so passionate about everybody taking it knowledge of what they want and how they feel and finding their sativa. Lord have mercy. The plot is in and it is sinister. Okay. We think about the purposeful food deserts that they created in black neighborhoods,
Mhm.
how they flood our neighborhoods with fast food options. You got 5 McDonald's all around. Like now, when it comes to cannabis and the fact that there are certain strains that are going to slow us down, that can stifle your creativity,
Mm.
that can give you a motivational syndrome. And when I go to medical dispensaries and see like all of the weed, or not even medical, just different regular dispensaries, all of the weeds are all the same. They all look the same. They all smell the same. They're all the same profile. Like, we should be mindful that these people will present us with poison and ask us to take our pick. If we aren't educated on the best medicine for us to receive the most optimum quality of life, they will literally put nothing but poison and like, okay, you got 25 different flavors of poison. Which one you want?
Mm.
Knowing the power of our creativity, knowing the power of what happens when we're focused.
So you really talking about a different way of administering chemical warfare against the people.
They've all this would just be par for the course of what they already do, what they are known to do, what we know that they'll do. We know that they will do this. We know that they have done it.
They have done
And
it
they are
in this
actively
way.
doing it with the food that we eat. Why wouldn't they do it with the weed? And what happens if you're not involved in these conversations, or if you're not an informed consumer? Word to the food, straight up. Like now, people is hip. We're like, yo, but is it organic? Like tell me more about this beef. Where did it
Mm.
come from? What about this chicken? Is it local? Was it, the milk? What's in it? I don't even drink milk.
Yeah.
Like we asking questions. Is you have a gluten-free option? We we are informed. And the food industry doesn't want it like that. They didn't even want to tell us the nutritional facts of the fast food we was eating. They tried to fight that. We're old enough to remember before you even knew how many calories was in a Big Mac. They was giving us all that shit and we ain't even know it. They was never gonna tell us.
Right.
They was never gonna tell you how much is in the big ass supersized sodas that they give you for you to drink in one sitting. So yeah, heavy on the education when it comes to cannabis, because I do see how when uneducated, this could be used as a weapon against communities. And we've come way too far. Shit, what am I talking about? Look at the liquor stores. You try and buy certain types of liquor in certain type of liquor stores, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. You go to a white joint, they don't even have certain liquor stores that they're gonna have in a liquor store on Benning Road.
Right. Certain liquor they ain't even serving out there at all.
They don't even have no malt liquor. They're not even selling you no single 22, 40-ounce beers. They don't even.
Yeah, no 211s, no Mad Dogs, no OEs.
It doesn't even exist as a choice. And that's not to say that white people aren't alcoholics, but the type of alcohol that they are drinking is not what they are giving us to choose from drink.
Right. And specifically what they have actually researched that stuff like malt liquor does to our bodies.
Mm-hmm. And they purposefully is flooding us with that. Flooding us. So yeah, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And I saw it early, hip to it. I'm thankful for it. I love to see people copy it. I hope that I'm so happy that now education is cool and everybody is talking about terpenes and everybody is talking about cannabinoids and everybody wants to be a cannabis coach or consultant and talk about the please do. Yes, everybody make it cool. Everybody should know what their favorite terpene is just as easily as you know what your favorite dark liquor is. You know, it's okay. People find they drink and they stick with that. If you find your weed, you find your medicine, and you stick with that. I imagine if the pharmacy was like how your weed man is, and you come back, you try to get some Tylenol, he's like, nah, I ain't got no more Tylenol, but what I do got.
Yo, that's hilarious.
I got this new shit, man. Fuck that other shit, man. I'm trying to tell you. I
This
got this
right here,
Bismol. Like, nigga, I said I need a Tylenol. Why are you trying to sell me? My stomach doesn't even hurt.
Yo, AJ said it's definitely not a coincidence that the Food and Drug Administration are under the same umbrella.
No, it is not.
Right, and he said then the wine and spirit stores are going to look at you like, what is the Four Loko of you?
What is this Four Loko of which you speak?
You're
Never
right.
ointment.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So,
nah. They are actively poisoning us, and I don't even understand how these choices are legal to be offered. But 1,000,000,000%, yes. If we're not paying attention, they're gonna do that with cannabis. The cannabis dispensaries that are gonna be in our neighborhoods are not gonna have the best medicine for our minds.
wow. So, okay, real quick, we're going to get ready to close out soon, y'all. But before we do that, we're going to segue in a minute into this final beautiful presentation of this exclusive material that y'all only hearing today on this show. And you don't got to go catch it when we drop it. Exclusive, world exclusive play. Run it up.
Run it.
Pew, 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 pew. So, yeah. Right, but seriously though, like, okay, so before we go there, because this is actually dealing with all the different ranges of what you talked about in entrepreneurialism, your journey as an artist, your journey through life, your journey through, your contribution to the culture, what the culture contributed to you. In the midst of all of that, you spoke about a little person that popped up in the story somewhere along the line. So talk to us real quick about that little person and the role he played in your life that's a part of where you are now in this zone and the extension of another lane of your abundance.
Amen. Yeah, motherhood definitely was a pivotal moment where musically I was about to start traveling to other countries performing my art. And I took a break from all that to just enjoy being pregnant and making a human. And it was shortly after my baby break that the opportunity came to me to work in the cannabis industry. And I hadn't gotten started back into doing music yet. And it just felt like, yo, this is a dream job. Pastor J runs a cultivation center. I'm growing weed now. And it's just, I'm pausing because just thinking about how it was a rebirth of my art as well. Cause I really have felt like, this weed shit, this is my career now. Like this is what I do. I have a job and I can work this forever. Like why be a rapper when I could be when I'm doing this? Like rap was a hobby. It was something I didn't see my place in the industry where it's like Lil Kim and I mean not Lil Kim, but Nicki Minaj and City Girls and Megan Thee Stallion, and like this was the only persona that they wanted a female rapper to have. And I've been told that numerous times by entities in the industry, such so that they were like, I had opportunities to be a ghostwriter, but nobody wanted substance. They were just like, yeah, nah, that's never gonna sell. So with that, I'm like, well, fucking weed will sell, so let's do that. But that's where some of the best, I think, my best music started to come back from, because I still was writing. It was back to the poetry where this story, I just had this download and I had to just write it, Word to the song you're about to play, Abundance. That was a poem. It was a thought. It was realizing how we are living in African abundance in many ways, but this country's paradigm doesn't allow us to see the divinity in our ways, to where there are, African cultures where a man has hella baby mothers. They are his wives. He takes care of all these children. It is a mark of status to be a man with many wives and many children. But we don't have a framework for that here. Every man doesn't do that, but many baby mamas, we are warriors. We come from a long line of lion catching warriors. So this inclination to exercise this warriorship, like, it's because of where you come from. You don't have an outlet for that. So yeah, man, having a kid gave me a point to fixate on, reason to do what I do, and a different way of being, because I'm somebody's mom now, like it's different. When you somebody's mama, that's always the Joan. You don't want to be, you don't want your kids like, damn, your mother out here. That's your mother.
Right, man. Well, dang, a young short man. A cousin, his mother be just going, so she wrote.
Right.
You don't want to be that mama.
No. So, again, just thankful for it all to be full circle, to have my son see his mom not work for somebody else, but be a boss and build an empire and help other people get opportunities.
Yeah, indeed. Opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, real quick, we're going to throw this last exclusive at y'all. You know what I'm saying? Listen, and on the flip to the tip, we sure enough appreciate y'all for tapping in with us tonight. Shout out, peace to all the kings and queens that jump in the building to show love to the real Jake Mills. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, before we play this last cut, Jake, tell them where they can find your music at now, where they can tap in with your counterculture business and with everything you're doing and events and community and stuff that's happening fresh out the box, where you at, where you drop.
Okay, yo, follow me at The Real J Mills. That's JAYMILLS. And you can follow me on Instagram at The Real J Mills. You can follow me on Twitter at The Real J Mills. You can follow me on Facebook at The Real J Mills. You can even go to www.therealjmills.com and really dive into the beautiful mind and see all those different chapters and different blog posts that are related to these different sides of my mind. You could look The Real J Mills up on YouTube and see some of my videos and see my channel. From my IG page, I have a link tree as the link in my bio, and that's how you can stay tuned with all my events and all of my happenings. Shout outs to Ebony Green, that's my weed brand.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Also, shout out again to the homie T Black. Looking forward to dropping his remix jump. It's gonna be
Thank
hot. Yes, indeed. Great work. Yes, indeed. So listen, good people. Side note, in case y'all forgot, that Muscle Crank Glory Trapping, we dropping that on Memorial Day.
you.
That right there. Sheesh. It's all heat. All heat happening. No moment of time. Fly fire. Straight at y'all. So y'all stay tuned for that, man. Also stay tuned for the Elixir Project. We're giving y'all that good love. Also stay tuned for more of the beautiful mind of Jay Mills and more of, live entertainment and everything's moving and shaking with the events. A lot of beautiful things happening. Yeah, I ain't gonna give up the inside scoop on some things I know that's coming down the pike, because I don't think that's supposed to be public knowledge yet. But some lot of beautiful things happening for the Sister Queen in the building. A lot of beautiful things happening for all the people in the town. So, speaking of which, we're gonna drop this last cut called Abundance. Y'all ready for it? Here to go. And after that, we're gonna piece about the show. All right, check it out.
I come from abundance. Spend it quick, honey, I get it, I got it, I flaunt it. I come from abundance. Spend it quick, honey, then flip it and bring back a bundle. I come from abundance. Bless all my friends with ends, they don't have to return it. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance, abundance. I come from abundance, know how that gun hit. So many lost men gone in a coffin. So many baby mamas, many offspring. So many locked up, so many lost teams. Many lives lost on the block scene. It's a sad song when the Glock sing. So we boss up is black on black, everything black on black ownership. More land than wedding ring. Come from abundance, fact. Always got money on black. Invest and stack on my stack. Stay humble and always get back. And always stay strapped. Now take back the map. Black. Come from abundance, true. So I spit out the booth for the youth. And I rip it the way that they used to. Misman some moves, so dripping and dropping these jewels. Do not get confused. Abundance. See it quick, honey, I get it, I got it, I flaunt it. I come from abundance. Spend it quick, honey, then flip it and bring back a bundle. I come from abundance. Bless all my friends with ends, they don't have to return it. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance, abundance. I come from abundance, true. Words are my tools. My action is what I prove. Do what I do. Take them to school. Oh, remake royalty out of fool. Now what with table flipping Jesus do? Harriet with a shot of fuel with you. What's it going to take to get through to you? If your fuel with you is not golden, cause you don't know the crown that you hold. Nobody in the world never showed. Our birthright been stolen, but royalty goes by blood, that's deep. Kings and queens 1619 built another country on our backs and our feet. Whole world marching with signs in the street. Everybody knows who we are, but we sheesh. Cause they know black power. Every single race looks just like ours. Culture so great we replace and devour. Our weight is creating right now, it's the hour. See it quick, honey, I get it, I got it, I flaunt it. I come from abundance. Spend it quick, honey, then flip it and bring back a bundle. I come from abundance. Bless all my friends with ends, they don't have to return it. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance, abundance. I come from abundance. See it quick, honey, I get it, I got it, I flaunt it. I come from abundance. Spend it quick, honey, then flip it and bring back a bundle. I come from abundance. Bless all my friends with ends, they don't have to return it. I come from abundance. Abundance, 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 abundance. Every step is God's gift. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance. Every breath is God's will. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance. Every step is God's gift. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance. Every breath is God's will. I come from abundance. Abundance, abundance. Abundance. Abundance, abundance.
That last part is my favorite part. Like understanding, like more than African abundance, is spiritual abundance. Like you don't know, every step is a gift. every single breath was
Yeah.
given to you. That's abundance. That's an unfathomable abundance.
Yeah, that's
Thank you, AJ.
Yes, indeed.
Miss Manso Moose, dripping and dropping these jewels. Do not get confused. Abundance.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Once again, good people, we have had an amazing show tonight. Thank you again to the Real J Mills for coming out. It was
Thank you
an
for having me.
honor highlighting your work and your past, your present, and looking into the future.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. A lot of great things happening.
Yes.
And you know, everybody tap in, the abundance, tap into moment in time, tap in the beautiful mind, tap in to the beautiful grind and the light that shines through
Hey.
you, me, and everybody. You did. Return to Black Broadway podcast show. Yes, indeed. Doing it how we do it. Oh.
Sorry, Elliot, but you can catch the replay though.
It's all good. That's my little cuz. Little cuz, catch the replay. Don't even trip. Is you can rewind it back. That's the beauty of YouTube, baby boy. Don't even worry. So yeah, again, thank y'all for tapping in with us. Had a ball. We got some more coming at the end of the month. We're gonna do a world premiere drop for Muscle Crank, and then following very shortly after that, we also dropping, the Elixir Project, which is also featuring the Moment in Time remix flip. Indeed, it's all up. You know what I'm saying? Yes, indeed. Your boy Re'Gideon Peoplez in the building. One time, J Mills in the building. Appreciate
Yes,
y'all. Yes, indeed.
Pass the J.
Welcome to the Dope Show. It's Black. That's Black on the track.
If I only had this moment in time. 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 If I only had this moment in time.
The station may cause an unfortunate
If I
situation.
only had this moment in time.
And we are